From the tangy country-style pork ribs to the sweet grilled peaches with honey, vintage barbecue feasts have always been a cherished tradition. What makes these classic dishes so unforgettable? Join us as we delve into the nostalgic flavors your grandpa used to serve up at those legendary backyard cookouts. In the mid-20th century, country-style pork ribs became a beloved barbecue dish, often cooked by grandfathers. Despite the name, these ribs were actually cut from the pork shoulder, making them meatier and more flavorful than traditional ribs. They gained popularity as an affordable and delicious alternative to pricier cuts. The ribs were typically coated in a tangy barbecue sauce made from ketchup, vinegar, brown sugar, and spices, creating a sweet and smoky flavor. Slow cooked to tender perfection, they were especially popular at family gatherings in rural areas where pork shoulder was both available and inexpensive. If pork ribs were a barbecue staple, what makes corn on the cob with herb butter a perfect pairing? But before we move on, I'd like to ask you for a small favor. If you like this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. Imagine what we could accomplish if everyone subscribed. It costs you nothing, but makes a huge difference to us. So, is it done? Great! Thank you so much. Alright, so back in the early 20th century, corn on the cob with herb butter became a popular dish as grilling grew in popularity across America. Freshly harvested corn from local farms was a summer favorite. The corn was coated with a mixture of butter, fresh herbs like parsley, thyme, and chives, along with garlic for added flavor. The buttered corn was wrapped in foil to keep it moist and flavorful while roasting on the grill. This method produced sweet, juicy corn with a savory, aromatic coating. It was especially enjoyed at family gatherings and picnics, where the grill's smoky flavor enhanced the taste. After enjoying the zesty corn on the cob, have you ever wondered what classic barbecue dish might follow? Hickory smoked chicken halves were a barbecue classic your grandpa might have served. These chicken halves were marinated with a tasty blend of spices like smoked paprika, garlic powder, and brown sugar. They were then smoked using hickory chips, infusing the meat with a rich, smoky flavor. The slow cooking method at low temperatures kept the chicken juicy and tender, allowing the smoke to deeply penetrate the meat. The result was a smoky, succulent chicken that nearly fell off the bone. Ideal for family gatherings, these chicken halves offered a nostalgic taste of traditional barbecue with savory, slightly sweet flavor. If hickory smoked chicken halves made your taste buds dance, what could be more delicious at a barbecue? Grilled country sausages, like bratwurst or Polish sausages, used to be a barbecue staple. These thick, juicy sausages were perfectly grilled, with a nice char on the outside while staying tender and flavorful inside. They were often served in buns for easy enjoyment at gatherings. Toppings were simple but tasty, including tangy mustard, zesty sauerkraut, or sweet grilled onions. Each bite mixed smoky sausage flavors with the sharpness of mustard or the sweetness of onions. Grilling sausages was also a social event, bringing people together at family cookouts and community celebrations. How about classic potato salad, which was made with boiled potatoes, giving it a rich texture from a blend of mayonnaise and mustard? Hard-boiled eggs added protein and a smooth consistency. Crunchy celery and onions provided a satisfying bite, while a dash of vinegar or pickle relish added a tangy kick, balancing the creaminess. Often prepared ahead, this dish allowed the flavors to meld perfectly. It was a favorite side, complementing grilled meats and barbecue treats. The creamy, tangy, and crunchy elements made it a nostalgic, comforting crowd pleaser. Classic potato salad's rich, creamy texture pairs perfectly with barbecues. But what about the classic barbecued baked beans? Barbecued baked beans were a cherished side dish at old-fashioned barbecues. These beans were slow cooked until tender, simmering in molasses and brown sugar, which gave them a rich, sweet flavor. Smoked bacon added a savory, smoky taste, while onions and a mix of spices deepened the dish's flavor. Often cooked directly on the grill, the beans absorbed even more smoky goodness. The lengthy cooking time allowed the flavors to meld perfectly. The aroma of barbecued baked beans cooking filled the air, bringing people together and enhancing the sense of community. While barbecued baked beans brought everyone together with their rich, smoky flavor, what makes smoked beef brisket so irresistible? Smoked beef brisket started with a large cut of brisket, generously rubbed with a special blend of spices. The brisket was slowly smoked over wood chips, often hickory or oak, for several hours. This slow smoking process allowed the meat to absorb the smoky flavor while breaking down tough connective tissue, resulting in a tender and juicy interior. The exterior formed a deep, flavorful bark, a crust that added delightful texture and taste. The smoky aroma, spice rub, and tender meat made smoked beef brisket a beloved dish at barbecue gatherings. While the smoky richness of beef brisket tantalized the taste buds, how about a sweet tropical twist? Grilled pineapple rings were a delightful vintage barbecue treat. Fresh pineapple slices were marinated in a sweet spiced glaze, made from brown sugar, cinnamon, and a hint of chili powder. This mixture enhanced the natural sweetness of the pineapple and added a subtle kick. Once marinated, the pineapple rings were placed on the grill, where the heat caramelized the sugars, creating a golden brown crust. The grilling process intensified the pineapple's juiciness, making each bite burst with tropical flavor. These caramelized rings were perfect for balancing out savory meats like ribs or chicken. Grilled pineapple rings bring a tropical flair to barbecues, but what about a classic side that pairs perfectly? Deviled eggs were a popular side dish enjoyed for centuries, starting in ancient Rome where they were seasoned with spicy sauces and served as appetizers. The modern version, with a creamy filling of egg yolks, mayonnaise, mustard, and paprika, became well known in the United States during the 1940s. To make them, people boiled eggs, cut them in half, and mixed the yolks with mayonnaise, mustard, and paprika. This mixture was then spooned back into the egg whites, creating a pleasing mix of textures and flavors. Deviled eggs were a favorite at barbecues, adding a cool, creamy bite that complemented grilled meats. Deviled eggs were a classic choice at gatherings, but what about other comforting, hearty dishes that followed? Pork and beans casserole was a comforting dish that combined beans, bacon, onions, and chunks of pork simmered in a rich, smoky barbecue sauce. This dish originated with early American settlers who needed to make hearty meals from simple ingredients. To prepare it, bacon was fried until crispy and onions were sautéed in the bacon fat. Chunks of pork were browned, then mixed with canned beans and barbecue sauce in a casserole dish. It was baked until the flavors blended and the top caramelized. This casserole became especially popular in the mid-20th century, frequently appearing at potlucks due to its sweet and smoky taste loved by both adults and children. After the hearty comfort of pork and beans casserole, what could be a sweeter summer-perfect finish? Grilled peaches with honey was a delicious dessert that highlighted the natural sweetness of fresh peaches. Rooted in Southern cuisine, grilling fruits was a common way to boost their flavor. To make it, fresh peaches were halved and pitted, then brushed with a bit of oil to prevent sticking before being placed on a hot grill. They were grilled for about 2 to 3 minutes per side, until slightly charred and softened. After grilling, honey was drizzled over the peaches, adding a rich sweetness that paired well with the smoky flavor. This simple and elegant dessert was a popular choice at barbecues and family gatherings, especially in the summer when peaches were in season. Just finished grilling peaches to perfection, what about a main course that's equally mouthwatering? Butterflied grilled chicken, or spatchcock chicken, involved removing the backbone and flattening the bird for even cooking. The chicken was marinated in a tangy, vinegar-based barbecue sauce, which gave it a rich, zesty flavor. Grilling made the skin crispy while keeping the meat juicy and tender. This technique was favored in the past for its faster cooking and better flavor absorption. To prepare, it started with marinated chicken, then grilled it until golden and reached 165 degrees Fahrenheit. It was a popular choice for summer cookouts due to its simplicity and delicious taste. Enjoying butterflied grilled chicken for its crispy skin and juicy meat might leave you curious. What about the rich, smoky flavors of pulled pork? Smoked pork shoulder, often known as pulled pork, involved rubbing a pork shoulder with a dry spice mix and then smoking it slowly at a low temperature until it became tender and flavorful. The smoking process, which took up to 14 hours, allowed the meat to absorb the smoky flavor and develop a delicious crust. Once cooked, the pork was shredded and served with a tangy barbecue sauce. This method, popular in the southern United States, required a pork shoulder, spices like paprika, garlic powder, and brown sugar, and a smoker. The pork was rubbed with spices, smoked at approximately 107 degrees Celsius, and occasionally spritzed with apple juice. After enjoying the rich flavors of smoked pork shoulder, what's the perfect side to complement it? Coleslaw, from the Dutch term koolslaw, meaning cabbage salad, was introduced to America by Dutch settlers in the 18th century. It featured finely shredded cabbage and carrots mixed with a tangy, creamy dressing, made from mayonnaise, vinegar, and a touch of sugar. This combo created a crunchy side that went well with barbecue. Coleslaw gained popularity due to its easy preparation and use of common ingredients, becoming a staple at family gatherings and barbecues, especially in the southern United States. Its popularity grew further with the invention of mayonnaise, which added a creamy texture. Coleslaw's creamy tanginess made it a barbecue favorite, but could the next dish add a spicy twist? Jalapeno cornbread was a tasty twist on a traditional cornbread, bringing a spicy kick with fresh jalapenos. Originating from the southern United States, where cornbread was a staple since colonial times, the recipe combined cornmeal, flour, baking powder, and buttermilk with minced jalapenos and shredded cheese, often cheddar or pepper jack. Some versions also included a touch of honey for sweetness. This spicy and cheesy bread became popular in areas with plenty of jalapenos, offering a unique taste on a classic cornbread. As we wrap up, these vintage barbecue delights truly bring back the flavors of yesteryear. What classic dish do you remember from your grandpa's grill? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time.